It was a quiet Tuesday evening at the Riverside Bistro, a popular local restaurant known for its warm ambiance and exceptional cuisine. Located in a bustling downtown area, the bistro was usually packed with both regulars and newcomers, eager to savor the signature dishes. However, this evening would not follow the usual peaceful rhythm. An unexpected altercation was about to unfold, one that would shake the community and leave everyone talking for weeks to come. The protagonist of this shocking event? Karoline Leavitt, a well-known figure in town, known not just for her charm, but also for her reputation as a confident, successful woman who had worked hard to establish herself in her career. What happened that evening would leave an indelible mark on everyone involved. Karoline had decided to dine at the Riverside Bistro after a long, stressful week of meetings and conference calls. She was looking forward to a quiet evening, enjoying a delicious meal in a comfortable setting. However, little did she know that this seemingly peaceful dinner would turn into an unforgettable spectacle. The drama began the moment she walked in. The restaurant's manager, Ethan Collins, was a no-nonsense, diligent professional. He had worked at the Riverside Bistro for 5 years, quickly rising through the ranks due to his commitment to both customer service and the success of the restaurant. Ethan had a reputation for ensuring that everything ran smoothly, but he also had very specific rules when it came to how customers behaved in his establishment. He expected nothing less than respect for the staff and the space they provided. However, what transpired between him and Karoline Leavitt would test both his patience and his professionalism. Karoline arrived at the bistro, dressed in a stylish black dress, her hair neatly pulled back in a sleek ponytail. As she entered, the usual ambience of the restaurant, with its dimmed lights and the low hum of conversation, seemed to lull her into a sense of relaxation. She was greeted by the hostess, who promptly escorted her to a table near the back of the restaurant. Karoline took a seat and opened the menu, smiling at the thought of unwinding with her favorite dishes. But soon, her tranquility would be disrupted. A few moments after she sat down, Karoline noticed a change in the atmosphere. There was a tense undercurrent in the air, a shift in the energy around her. It wasn't until Ethan approached her table that she realized what was happening. Ethan, walking with his usual confident stride, greeted Karoline with a smile that quickly faded as he addressed her. "Excuse me, Ms. Leavitt, but I'm going to have to ask you to leave the premises," he said, his voice firm and authoritative. Karoline's smile dropped as confusion clouded her face. "Pardon me?" she asked, uncertain if she had heard him correctly. "I'm afraid we can't serve you tonight," Ethan repeated, his eyes not leaving hers. "There's been an issue with your behavior the last time you visited, and I'm afraid it's not something we can overlook." Karoline's expression quickly shifted from surprise to disbelief. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her voice rising with frustration. "I've never caused any problems here. I've always been a good customer." Ethan, unwavering, pulled out a small notebook from his jacket pocket, flipping it open. "We've had reports of you being rude to our staff the last time you dined with us. This kind of behavior is not tolerated here, no matter who you are. We try to maintain a respectful environment, and that means treating both the staff and the other customers with dignity." Karoline's cheeks flushed with embarrassment and anger. The nerve of this man. How dare he accuse her of such things? She knew that she had always been respectful to the staff, even during her previous visits. She quickly scanned her memory, trying to figure out what might have triggered such a drastic response. "What are you saying?" Karoline retorted. "Are you really kicking me out over some petty misunderstanding? I don't even know what you're talking about. This is ridiculous." The tension between them was palpable. Several nearby diners had begun to take notice of the exchange, their eyes flicking nervously between the two of them. Karoline's reputation in town was well known, and many of them recognized her. Some felt sympathetic toward her, others uncomfortable with the confrontation, but Ethan stood his ground. "I'm sorry, Ms. Leavitt," he said coolly. "The decision has been made. You need to leave now." Karoline's frustration reached its peak. She pushed her chair back sharply, causing a clatter that caught the attention of everyone in the restaurant. Her mind raced. What was she supposed to do now? Leave without a word? Or confront this manager who clearly had no intention of backing down? But then something inside her shifted. Instead of backing down, instead of submitting to this absurd treatment, Karoline made a decision. She would not let this go quietly. The fiery, independent side of her, so often kept in check in the public, was ready to make itself known. "Fine," she said, her voice low but resolute. "If you want me to leave, I'll leave. But you're going to regret this." The other diners watched in stunned silence as Karoline grabbed her purse and stood up from the table. She walked toward the exit with a purposeful stride, not giving Ethan the satisfaction of seeing her flustered. She was calm, composed, but inside, a storm was brewing. As she stepped out of the restaurant, a strange sense of clarity washed over her. She would not let anyone treat her like this, especially not someone in a position of power who didn't understand the consequences of his actions. Karoline was determined to find a way to turn this situation to her advantage. It wasn't until she stepped outside the bistro that Karoline made her decision. She reached for her phone, a plan already forming in her mind. Karoline didn't just have a reputation in town. She had influence. She had built a network of connections through her business ventures and her social media presence. If Ethan thought he could throw her out without facing consequences, he was sorely mistaken. She dialed a number, her fingers tapping against the screen with purpose. After a few rings, the phone was answered. "Hey, it's Karoline. I need you to do something for me." Her voice was calm, controlled. "I was just kicked out of the Riverside Bistro by Ethan Collins. I want you to make sure this gets to the right people. Social media, news outlets, the whole town. Let's make sure everyone knows what happened here." Her words were calculated, precise. She wasn't going to scream or lash out. She was going to let the power of information do the work for her. This wasn't just about a bad experience at a restaurant. It was about the principle of respect, power dynamics, and standing up for oneself. Karoline knew how to turn any situation to her favor, and this would be no different. Within hours, the story was making its rounds on local news websites and social media platforms. Karoline's name was trending, and the controversy surrounding her removal from the restaurant was the talk of the town. People debated whether Ethan was justified in kicking her out or if he had overstepped his bounds. Some rallied behind Karoline, praising her for her resilience, while others criticized the manager for his lack of tact and professionalism. But it didn't stop there. Karoline had a larger plan in motion. The next day, she used her social media platforms to share her side of the story, emphasizing the importance of treating others with dignity, no matter their position or influence. She didn't rant or complain. Instead, she shared a thoughtful, well-articulated post about respect, power, and the importance of standing up for what's right. "I've always been a firm believer in fairness and mutual respect," she wrote in her post. "What happened to me last night was not just a personal insult. It was a reminder that sometimes even those in positions of power need to be held accountable. We all deserve to be treated with kindness and professionalism. It's a simple request, but one that should never be overlooked." The post quickly went viral. It was shared thousands of times, with people leaving messages of support and solidarity. Within a few days, even major news outlets began picking up the story. Karoline had turned a humiliating experience into a rallying cry for fairness and equality. Meanwhile, Ethan Collins was feeling the heat. The Riverside Bistro's management team, pressured by the public backlash, launched an internal investigation into the incident. They contacted Karoline to apologize for the misunderstanding and assured her that the matter would be addressed. The restaurant's reputation, once pristine, had been tarnished by a single decision made by one man. In the aftermath of the incident, things took an unexpected turn. The Riverside Bistro's management offered Karoline a public apology, acknowledging the mishandling of the situation. Ethan, too, was called in for a formal meeting. While the outcome of the investigation was unclear, what was certain was that the community had rallied around Karoline in a way that few could have predicted. Ethan, once so confident in his position, was now faced with the consequences of his actions. His reputation, too, had been affected. The restaurant, known for its fine dining experience, was now scrutinized by the public, and many of its regular customers questioned their loyalty. Meanwhile, Karoline found herself at the center of a renewed conversation about respect, power, and accountability. The event had catapulted her into the spotlight, but instead of shrinking from it, she embraced it. She continued to share her thoughts on leadership and personal growth, using the platform she had gained to elevate discussions about empowerment and fairness. Her actions didn't just stop at social media posts or news interviews. She took it a step further by offering public seminars on leadership and the importance of workplace respect, which were attended by dozens of professionals from different industries. In the end, the incident at the Riverside Bistro became more than just a minor altercation between a customer and a manager. It was a lesson in how a single moment could change everything. Karoline Leavitt had faced adversity and come out stronger, with her voice heard by more people than she could have ever imagined. The story of the woman who was kicked out of a restaurant had turned into a testament to the power of standing up for oneself and demanding respect. What happened that night at the Riverside Bistro was far more than just a personal setback for Karoline Leavitt. It became a powerful catalyst for change. The way she handled the situation shocked everyone, not because of her anger or defiance, but because of her grace, intelligence, and strategic thinking. She turned a humiliating experience into an opportunity for growth, both for herself and for those around her. In the end, Karoline's actions left a lasting impression on the community, a reminder that no one should ever be made to feel less than or insignificant. It was a lesson in standing up for what is right, even when the odds seem stacked against you. And for Ethan Collins, it was a reminder that no matter how much power one holds, respect and humility should always be at the forefront of every decision.